Your morning coffee feels like comfort, warm, familiar, harmless. But for seniors, hidden dangers are brewing in that cup. From mold-contaminated beans to sky-high acrylamide levels and deceptive natural labels hiding chemicals, some Canadian coffee brands could be silently damaging your heart, kidneys, and blood pressure. Today, we are exposing 9 coffee brands you should never drink, and 2 that are actually clean. Coming in at number 9, we have got Tim Hortons Original Blend, Canada's most iconic coffee, the brand that built its reputation on fresh brewed pots every 20 minutes. The promise of honest, simple Canadian coffee served by friendly faces in every town from coast to coast. For decades, Tim Hortons was the coffee seniors trusted, your morning ritual, the place you met friends for a double-double and a chat. The red cups, the familiar aroma wafting through the drive-through window. It felt like home. It felt like Canada. But here is what Tim Hortons does not tell you. In recent years, Tim Hortons has faced growing criticism over quality control and ingredient sourcing. The beans are no longer roasted in Canada. Production shifted overseas years ago. With it came complaints of inconsistent flavor, stale batches, and a burnt, bitter aftertaste that loyal customers say never existed before. Walk into any Tim Hortons today. Breathe in that sharp, almost chemical edge to the air. That is not the aroma of fresh coffee. That is industrial roasting at scale. That is cost-cutting dressed up as tradition. But taste is the least of your worries. Independent testing has raised concerns about acrylamide levels in mass-produced roasted coffee. Acrylamide is a chemical compound that forms when coffee beans are roasted at high temperatures. According to Health Canada, acrylamide is classified as a probable human carcinogen. While all roasted coffee contains some acrylamide, cheaper mass production methods that prioritize speed over quality can result in higher concentrations. A 2023 analysis by Consumer Reports found that some mass-market brands contained acrylamide levels nearly twice as high as specialty roasters. The faster you roast, the more dangerous compounds you create. For seniors, this matters deeply. Your body processes toxins more slowly as you age. Your liver and kidneys work harder to filter out harmful compounds. If you are drinking 2 or 3 cups a day from a brand cutting corners on roasting quality, those chemicals accumulate. They build up in your system week after week, month after month. They stress organs that are already working overtime. And then there is the sodium issue that nobody talks about. Tim Hortons flavored coffees, the French vanillas, the mochas, the iced cappuccinos that taste so smooth and sweet are loaded with sodium. A medium iced cap contains over 180 milligrams of sodium. For seniors managing high blood pressure or heart conditions, that is a dangerous hidden dose you never see coming. You think you are treating yourself to something delicious. Your arteries feel the strain. Your blood pressure quietly rises. The brand promises Canadian heritage. What you get is imported beans, industrial roasting, and additives that could silently strain your heart. Is that really the Canada you remember? Is that the brand your parents trusted? At number 8, we have Maxwell House. The slogan says it is good to the last drop. But is it really? Let us examine what that last drop actually contains. Maxwell House has been a grocery store staple for generations. Seniors remember it from their parents' kitchens. The familiar red and blue canister sitting on the counter. The smell of percolating coffee filling the house on Sunday mornings. It feels safe because it feels familiar. You can almost hear the percolator bubbling, almost taste your grandmother's kitchen. That nostalgia is powerful. It is also exactly what the brand is counting on to keep you from asking questions. But Maxwell House is a product of Kraft Heinz, one of the largest processed food conglomerates in the world. And when corporations prioritize shareholders over consumers, quality suffers. The Maxwell House your mother brewed is not the Maxwell House sitting on your shelf today. The name is the same. Everything else has changed. Maxwell House uses a blend of Robusta and Arabica beans. Robusta beans are cheaper to grow, more resistant to pests, and contain nearly twice the caffeine of Arabica. They also tend to have a harsher, more bitter taste, which is why mass-market brands blend them in. It saves money. The accountants are delighted. Your taste buds suffer. Your health may suffer more. But here is what concerns health experts most. Robusta beans are more susceptible to mold contamination during storage and transport. Mold produces mycotoxins, specifically ochratoxin A, which has been linked to kidney damage and immune suppression in long-term exposure studies. A 2019 study published in the journal Food Control found detectable levels of ochratoxin A in over 30% of commercial coffee samples tested from North North American grocery shelves. 30%. That is nearly 1 in 3 bags potentially carrying invisible poison that you cannot smell, cannot taste, and cannot see. For seniors with compromised kidney function, a condition affecting nearly 1 in 3 Canadians over 65, this is not a minor concern. Your kidneys are already working at reduced capacity. Adding mycotoxin exposure to that burden is like asking a tired horse to carry more weight uphill in a blizzard. Something will eventually break down. And Maxwell House Original Roast is not telling you where those beans came from. The sourcing is vague. The supply chain is global and opaque. Quality control is left to massive distribution networks, where contamination can slip through unnoticed. One bad batch can end up in thousands of canisters across Canada. You trust the brand because you grew up with it. But the coffee in that canister today is not the same coffee your mother brewed 50 years ago. The name stayed. The commitment to quality left. Now at number 7, Folgers Classic Roast. The best part of waking up is the jingle everyone knows. Folgers has been America's and Canada's best-selling coffee for decades. It is everywhere. Every grocery store, every price point, every kitchen cupboard. That red canister is as common as flour and sugar in Canadian homes. It feels like a safe, reliable choice. A choice your neighbors make. A choice that cannot possibly be wrong. But best-selling does not mean best for you. It means best marketed. Folgers, like Maxwell House, relies heavily on Robusta beans to keep costs down. And like Maxwell House, the sourcing is murky and difficult to trace. Folgers is owned by the J.M. Smucker Company, and the beans come from plantations across Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam. Countries with varying standards for pesticide use, worker safety, and storage. Conditions. You do not know which farm your beans came from. Neither does the company, really. They just know the price was right. Most people have no idea what is really hiding in their morning cup. But stick around, because at the end of this video, we will show you exactly what to look for and how to protect yourself. Here is where it gets worse for seniors specifically. Folgers Classic Roast is pre-ground. That means the beans were ground weeks, sometimes months, before they reached your shelf. The moment coffee is ground, it begins to oxidize rapidly. Oils go rancid, flavor degrades. And more importantly, ground coffee is far more susceptible to mold growth during storage because of the increased surface area exposed to moisture. Every day that canister sits in a warehouse, quality deteriorates. Every week on your shelf makes it worse. If you have ever opened a can of Folgers and noticed a stale, flat, almost cardboard-like smell instead of rich coffee aroma, that is oxidation speaking to you. That is degradation. That is a warning sign your nose is giving you that your brain ignores out of habit and trust in the brand name. For seniors on blood thinners or heart medications, rancid coffee oils can interfere with how your body metabolizes certain drugs. The interactions are subtle at first. You will not feel them immediately, but over months and years, they add up. Your medication becomes less effective or potentially more dangerous. Either way, your doctor never knows why your numbers are not where they should be. Folgers promises tradition and comfort. What you get is mass-produced, pre-ground beans sitting in warehouses for unknown periods, with quality control stretched thin across global supply chains. That famous jingle should come with a warning label. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposés. At number 6, Nabob. Nabob is a Canadian brand through and through, or at least that is what the marketing wants you to believe. The truth is more complicated and more disappointing. Founded in Vancouver in 1896, Nabob built its reputation as a proudly Canadian coffee roaster over more than a century. The green packaging, the heritage branding, the promise of quality beans roasted right here at home by people who care. For seniors who remember Nabob from decades past, it feels like a safe, patriotic choice. Buying Canadian, supporting local, trusting a name that has been around longer than your grandparents, a name that survived 2 world wars and the Great Depression. But Nabob was acquired by Kraft in 1994. Then Kraft merged with Heinz. Now Nabob is just another product line in a multinational portfolio of brands. The roasting facility that once operated proudly in British Columbia has long since closed. The jobs are gone. The local oversight is gone. The connection to Canadian communities is severed. The Canadian identity is a ghost. Marketing remnant printed on packaging designed in a boardroom thousands of kilometers away by people who have never set foot in Vancouver. Today, Nabob beans are roasted in the United States and shipped back into Canada. You are paying Canadian prices for American roasted coffee wearing a Canadian costume. The maple leaf on the package is costume jewelry. The betrayal is quiet but complete, and the quality has followed that corporate decline. decline. Consumer complaints about Nabob have surged in recent years. Bitter, burnt flavors that leave a harsh coating on your tongue. Inconsistent batches where one bag tastes completely different from the next. Beans that smell stale right out of the sealed bag. That acrid, dusty scent that tells you something is wrong before you even brew the first cup. Online reviews are filled with longtime customers saying the Nabob they knew and loved is gone forever. They remember what it used to taste like. They mourn what it has become. But beyond taste, there is a deeper concern about trust. Nabob's 100% Colombian line promises premium single-origin beans from one of the world's finest coffee regions. But investigations into coffee supply chains have repeatedly shown that single-origin claims are extremely difficult to verify. Beans from multiple regions and multiple quality levels are often blended together and sold under a single premium label. For seniors trusting that label to mean purity and quality, it is a betrayal of that trust. The premium you pay does not buy premium coffee. It buys premium packaging and premium marketing. Why are seniors targeted with premium-sounding labels that hide blended, lower-quality beans? Does it not feel like the packaging matters more than what is actually inside? Number 5 on our list is Van Houtte. Van Houtte is another Canadian legacy brand with a story that sounds impressive until you look closer. Founded in Montreal in 1919, it became synonymous with cafe culture in Quebec and beyond. The name sounds European, sophisticated, trustworthy. It evokes images of Parisian cafes and artisanal craftsmanship handed down through generations. Seniors who grew up with Van Houtte associate it with quality and tradition, with taking your time over a good cup. But Van Houtte was acquired by Keurig Dr. Pepper, one of the largest beverage conglomerates in North America, with revenues in the tens of billions. And with corporate ownership came corporate priorities. Efficiency over excellence. Volume over quality, shareholder returns over customer health. Van Houtte's single-serve K-Cups are now one of their biggest revenue drivers. Convenient, yes. Quick, certainly. But here is what the convenience hides from you. K-Cups are made from plastic and aluminum, designed to withstand extreme heat. When hot water is forced through that pod at high pressure, trace amounts of plastic compounds can leach into your coffee. A groundbreaking 2020 study from McGill University found that a single plastic tea bag steeped in hot water released over 11 billion microplastic particles. 11 billion microscopic pieces of plastic from one tea bag. Coffee pods use similar materials under similar heat exposure. Every time you brew a K-Cup, you are potentially drinking plastic you cannot see or taste. For seniors, microplastics are an emerging and deeply concerning health issue. Research is still developing, but early studies suggest microplastics may contribute to chronic inflammation, hormonal disruption, and cellular damage at the DNA level. If you are already managing chronic conditions like arthritis, diabetes, or heart disease, adding another source of potential toxins to your daily routine is simply not a risk worth taking. And then there is the freshness issue that everyone ignores. Ground coffee sealed in plastic pods degrades faster than whole beans stored properly. That fresh cup from your Keurig machine? It is made from coffee that was ground and sealed months ago in a factory somewhere. Oxidation has already done its damage long before you press the button. The aromatic oils that make coffee smell wonderful are gone. The antioxidants that provide health benefits are significantly diminished. You are drinking the memory of fresh coffee, not the real thing. Van Houtte promises convenience and Montreal tradition. What you get is plastic-wrapped, pre-ground, corporate coffee with unknown long-term health implications. The heritage is just a label now. The tradition died when the corporation took over. Coming in at number 4, President's Choice. President's Choice is Loblaw's house brand, and Canadians trust it perhaps more than they should. The packaging is clean and professional. The prices are fair and competitive. The branding suggests careful curation by experts who care about quality and value. Memories of Dave Chicken, Dave Bread, Dave Cookies. That friendly face feels like a personal guarantee from someone who has tried every product himself. But house brands are built on one fundamental principle: cost efficiency above all else. President's Choice coffee is sourced from global suppliers, competing fiercely to offer the lowest possible price. Quality control is outsourced to third parties. Roasting is outsourced to the cheapest bidder. The beans that end up in that attractively designed bag were selected not for excellence or health benefits, but purely for profit margin. equation. Every decision along the supply chain prioritizes saving pennies. Your health is simply not part of the calculation. And here is what that relentless cost-cutting means for you personally. Cheaper coffee beans are significantly more likely to contain defects. Broken beans that roast unevenly, insect damage that introduces contamination, mold growing in crevices. All of these problems are far more common in budget-tier sourcing, where inspection standards are minimal. While major visible defects are screened out by machines, minor contamination often slips through the system undetected. The beans that did not quite make the cut for premium brands end up in house brand packaging with a different label and a lower price. A 2017 report from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency found that imported coffee products had varying compliance rates with Canadian safety standards. Some shipments contained pesticide residues above Health Canada acceptable limits. Some showed clear evidence of improper storage conditions during the long transport from tropical farms to Canadian warehouses. The inspection system is supposed to catch these problems. Sometimes it simply does not. For seniors, pesticide exposure is not a trivial matter to dismiss. Long-term consumption of even low-level pesticide residues has been linked in peer-reviewed studies to neurological issues, hormonal disruption, and increased cancer risk. Your liver and kidneys, already working overtime as you age, bear the burden of filtering these agricultural chemicals from your bloodstream. Every cup of contaminated coffee adds to that cumulative toxic load. Do not worry. We are going to reveal exactly which brands pass the test and which ones you can actually trust. But that revelation comes at the very end. Keep watching. President's Choice promises exceptional value, but value at what cost to your health? The savings at the checkout might quietly become expenses at the pharmacy down the road. Now at number 3, Kirkland Signature from Costco. Costco's Kirkland brand is legendary for quality among Canadian shoppers. Seniors absolutely love Costco. The bulk savings that stretch fixed incomes further, the reliable products, the ironclad reputation for standing behind everything they sell. And Kirkland's Signature coffee, especially the dark roast reportedly sourced from premium Starbucks suppliers, seems like a smart, economical choice. Big bag, great price, trusted brand name. What could possibly go wrong? But there is a hidden problem with bulk coffee that nobody at the warehouse mentions. Kirkland coffee comes in large bags, sometimes 1.36 kilograms or more of ground coffee, unless you are drinking 4 or 5 cups every single day. That bag is sitting open in your kitchen for weeks on end, and every single time you open it to scoop out another measure, oxygen rushes in. Moisture from the air gets in. Degradation accelerates exponentially. The coffee you brew in week 3 tastes nothing like the coffee you brewed when you first opened that bag in week 1. Scientific studies show that ground coffee loses up to 60% of its aromatic compounds within just 15 minutes of grinding. By the time you are halfway through that Costco bag weeks later, you are drinking stale, oxidized coffee with significantly reduced antioxidant benefits and increased rancidity. That flat, slightly sour taste you notice toward the end of the bag. That is not bold flavor. That is chemical decay. And rancid coffee oils are absolutely not harmless. Oxidized fats produce free radicals, unstable molecules that actively damage cells and contribute to aging, chronic inflammation, and degenerative disease. For seniors already fighting inflammation from arthritis, managing heart disease, or controlling diabetes, adding another significant source of oxidative stress to your daily routine is completely counterproductive to your health goals. You are trying to protect your health with every other choice you make. Your morning coffee is quietly sabotaging that effort. There is also the acrylamide factor that deserves attention. Kirkland's popular dark roasts are roasted at high temperatures for longer periods to achieve that signature bold flavor. While dark roasts have slightly less caffeine content, they also tend to have measurably higher acrylamide concentrations. For seniors concerned about long-term carcinogenic exposure from everyday foods, that is a trade-off worth understanding clearly. The darker and bolder the roast, the higher the potential health risk. Costco promises bulk savings and consistent quality, but bulk coffee sitting in your pantry slowly going stale is genuinely not doing your body any favors. Sometimes the bargain ends up costing more than you ever realized. At number 2, McDonald's McCafe. McCafe is everywhere you look. It is cheap, it is convenient. The marketing is absolutely relentless. Seniors love McDonald's coffee because it is affordable, often just $1 or $2 at most, and the drive-thru makes it effortless. You do not even have to get out of the car or navigate a parking lot. Roll down the window, grab your cup, start your day with minimal fuss. But cheap coffee comes with hidden costs that do not show up on the receipt. McDonald's sources its McAfee beans from multiple global suppliers, spread across different continents. The company has faced repeated scrutiny in major publications over labor practices at farms, environmental standards in growing regions, and quality control procedures in its sprawling supply chains. And while McDonald's has made many public commitments to sustainable and ethical sourcing, investigative journalists have repeatedly shown significant gaps between the corporate promises and the ground-level reality. The certifications look impressive on advertisements and annual reports. The actual conditions on supplier farms tell a different story. But here is what matters most for your personal health. McCafe brewed coffee is often made in high-volume commercial machines that are cleaned according to corporate maintenance schedules, not necessarily when they actually need cleaning. Former employees have reported disturbing findings to journalists over the years. Mold buildup discovered in coffee machine components, stale pots sitting on warmers for hours past their intended freshness window, and inconsistent temperature controls that can allow bacteria to breed. That cup you grabbed at the drive-thru window might have been sitting in a pot since the early morning breakfast rush ended hours ago, or even longer. For seniors with weakened immune systems, a contaminated cup of coffee is not a minor inconvenience to shrug off. It can trigger significant digestive distress lasting days, exacerbate existing chronic conditions, and introduce pathogens that your aging body struggles harder to fight off. A single bad cup of coffee can easily mean a bad week of uncomfortable recovery. And then there are the McCafe specialty drinks that seem like harmless treats. A medium mocha from McCafe contains over 42 grams of sugar, more than your entire daily recommended intake, concentrated in one seemingly innocent drink. For seniors managing diabetes or pre-diabetes, that is a dangerous blood sugar spike just waiting to happen. And the sodium content in flavored drinks can quietly push you over safe daily limits, straining your kidneys and raising your blood pressure without any warning signs. You think you are getting a harmless treat to brighten your morning. Your body experiences it as an assault. McDonald's promises unbeatable convenience and value. What you might actually get is corner cutting on sanitation, inconsistent quality control, and drinks that spike your sugar and sodium levels without you ever realizing what is happening inside your body. Do you ever wonder why the cheapest coffee always seems to cause the most problems? Is it really just random coincidence? What is the worst coffee experience you have ever had? Drop it in the comments below. We read every single one. And coming in at number 1, Starbucks Canada. Starbucks is the world's most recognizable coffee brand, without question. The green siren logo is synonymous with premium coffee culture, from Vancouver to Halifax. Seniors who enjoy Starbucks feel like they are treating themselves, paying more money to get quality, craftsmanship, and genuine care from trained baristas. The stores are clean and inviting. The baristas are consistently friendly. The cups have your name written personally on them. It feels special. It feels premium. But Starbucks has a significant secret it does not advertise on those chalkboard menus. Starbucks' signature dark roasts, the Pike Place roast, the Cafe Verona, the Italian roast, are all roasted far darker than specialty coffee industry standards actually recommend. Why would they do this? Because dark roasting effectively masks the flavor defects present in lower quality beans. It is considerably easier to achieve batch-to-batch consistency when you essentially char everything to the same extreme degree. Every cup tastes reliably the same, burnt, but at least it is predictably burnt every time you order. But dark roasting comes with a measurable price for your health. The darker the roast, the higher the acrylamide levels present in the final product. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have demonstrated that very dark roasts can contain significantly more of this probable carcinogen than lighter roasts prepared properly. For seniors drinking a venti dark roast every single day as part of their routine, that is cumulative carcinogenic exposure, adding up quietly over months and years of enjoyment. Each individual cup represents a small dose, but small doses accumulate relentlessly over time. And Starbucks specialty drinks are absolute nutritional nightmares hiding behind appetizing names. A single grande caramel frappuccino contains 420 calories, 65 grams of sugar, and 280 milligrams of sodium, all in one cup. For a senior carefully managing weight, monitoring blood sugar, or controlling blood pressure, that one single drink can completely derail an entire day's careful eating and health management. And the so-called skinny versions marketed as healthy alternatives still contain artificial sweeteners that research has increasingly linked to gut microbiome disruption and metabolic confusion. The healthy option is not actually healthy at all, but the real issue runs deeper than the drinks themselves. It is the branding. Starbucks positions itself aggressively as premium, ethical, sophisticated, environmentally conscious. Seniors willingly pay 3, 4, 5 times what they would pay for home-brewed coffee because they trust the carefully crafted brand image. But that That trust is built primarily on marketing expertise, not on what is actually in the cup you are handed. The in-store experience feels premium and special. The coffee itself is industrial-scale mass production, dressed up in fancy packaging, and served by friendly faces. Why do you think Starbucks keeps raising prices every year, while quality complaints keep growing online? Whose interests are they really protecting? Yours or their shareholders? Ever noticed how all these brands keep raising prices year after year, while the quality keeps dropping? Tell us your story below. The two that are actually clean. You have made it this far, and we promised you the solution. Because the truth is, not all coffee is created equal, and there are genuine brands out there that prioritize your health, practice real transparency, and deliver actual quality over profit margins and marketing spin. Here are the two Canadian coffee brands that passed our rigorous test. Safe pick number 1, Kicking Horse Coffee. Kicking Horse is roasted in Invermere, British Columbia, right here in Canada, where you can actually verify it. The company maintains certified organic status, certified fair trade status, and uses 100% Arabica beans sourced exclusively from sustainable farms with verified practices. When you open a bag of Kicking Horse, you smell immediately what real coffee is supposed to smell like: rich, complex, vibrant, alive, not burnt, not stale, not chemical. Why does this matter specifically for seniors? Organic certification means the beans are grown completely without synthetic pesticides, herbicides, or chemical fertilizers. That means fewer chemical residues making their way into your morning cup, and significantly less strain on your liver and kidneys trying to filter them out day after day. Fair trade certification means the farmers are paid fairly and work under verified ethical conditions. It also means stricter supply chain oversight at every step, which substantially reduces the risk of mold-contaminated or improperly stored beans ever slipping through to consumers. Kicking Horse roasts deliberately in small batches with careful temperature control, which helps minimize acrylamide formation while preserving the natural antioxidants present in quality beans. Their bags feature one-way valves that release carbon dioxide without letting oxygen in, keeping the coffee genuinely fresh longer once you bring it home. The flavor profiles are rich, smooth, and beautifully balanced. None of that burnt, bitter, cardboard taste you get from mass-produced corporate brands. For seniors who want clean, Canadian-roasted organic coffee with transparent sourcing and proven quality control, Kicking Horse is the real deal. Safe pick number 2, Ethical Bean Coffee. Ethical Bean is headquartered in Vancouver and has built its entire brand identity around radical transparency. Every single bag features a scannable code that lets you trace exactly where your specific beans came from: the actual farm name, the specific growing region, the harvest date, and the roast date. That level of complete traceability is genuinely rare in the coffee industry. And for seniors who are tired of vague blend labels and deliberately mysterious sourcing, it represents a true game changer. Ethical Bean holds certified organic status from both USDA and Canada Organic Standards. The beans are fair trade certified and grown on farms genuinely committed to sustainable agricultural practices. And the roasting happens entirely in Canada, with careful professional attention to flavor preservation and minimal acrylamide formation. But here is what really sets Ethical Bean apart from every competitor: verified third-party testing. Ethical Bean has voluntarily submitted their coffee for independent quality and safety analysis, and they publish the actual results for anyone to examine. Mycotoxin levels, pesticide residues, mold contamination, all verified by independent laboratories and fully disclosed to consumers. For seniors who want proof instead of promises, this kind of transparency is exactly what you should be demanding from every brand. For seniors who demand accountability, transparency, and genuine quality, Ethical Bean genuinely earns its name. Not all coffee is safe, and the familiar brands you have trusted for decades might be the ones quietly putting your health at risk. Now you know which ones to avoid and which ones actually deserve a place in your kitchen. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.